October 2022. President Biden flies to Saudi Arabia, asks them to pump more oil. Inflation is crushing American families. Gas prices are political poison. He needs help. 2 weeks later, Saudi Arabia does the opposite, cuts production, 2 million barrels a day. Oil prices spike. The White House calls it a hostile act. But Saudi Arabia doesn't apologize, because for the first time in 50 years, they don't have to. The deal that's governed U.S. Gulf relations since 1974 is breaking down, not loudly, not officially, but in ways that matter. Saudi Arabia sells oil in dollars, invests the money in American bonds. America provides military protection. It's been the unspoken bargain for half a century, the foundation of the petrodollar system. But that system requires something critical. Saudi Arabia has to need America more than America needs them, and that's no longer true. The shale revolution made America energy independent. Climate policy turned oil into a declining asset, and China became the Gulf's largest customer. The old incentives are gone, and the relationship is quietly unraveling. Here's how the petrodollar actually worked. 1974. Fresh off the oil embargo, the U.S. cuts a deal with Saudi Arabia. We'll protect you, sell you weapons, keep you safe. In return, price oil in dollars, recycle your profits into treasury bonds. It was brilliant. Every country buying oil needed dollars first. That created permanent dollar demand. Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states accumulated trillions, then loaned it back to America by buying government debt, a closed loop that financed U.S. deficits and kept borrowing costs low. OPEC followed Saudi Arabia's lead. Oil became synonymous with dollars. The system anchored dollar dominance for generations. But in 2023, something shifted. Saudi Arabia agreed to accept Chinese yuan for oil sales. Not for everything, just some deals with China. But the precedent shattered. For 50 years, Saudi oil was dollar only. Then Saudi Arabia and UAE started talking about joining BRICS, the bloc building alternatives to dollar trade. By 2024, they're seriously considering membership. Meanwhile, Gulf central banks are selling U.S. Treasury bonds, buying gold, diversifying into Asian and European assets. Between 2021 and 2023, they reduced Treasury holdings by over $100 billion. The petrodollar recycling machine is slowing, and China is filling the void. The math is stark. China now buys 5 times more Saudi oil than America does. 2.6 million barrels a day versus 500,000. When your biggest customer is Beijing, not Washington, your priorities shift. And China offers something America can't. No lectures on human rights, no political conditions, just business. Oil for yuan, infrastructure investments, technology transfers. A relationship based purely on mutual benefit. In March 2023, China did something unprecedented. They brokered a peace deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, historic enemies talking again, without American involvement, without American approval. The Gulf states are also arming themselves, buying weapons from France, the UK, and increasingly from China, building self-sufficient defenses. They don't want to rely solely on American protection anymore. And the U.S. has limited options. Sanction Saudi Arabia? Oil prices would spike globally. Military pressure? Impossible. They're a sovereign nation with nuclear ambitions. Diplomatic isolation? China would embrace them immediately. If the petrodollar system breaks, the consequences aren't abstract, they're immediate. Less demand for dollars means less demand for treasury bonds. That means higher interest rates, higher borrowing costs, bigger deficits. It also means sanctions lose power. Right now, oil sanctions work because oil trades in dollars. Cut a country off from dollars, you cut them off from oil markets. But if oil trades in yuan, rubles, or a BRICS currency, that leverage disappears. Geopolitically, it means China gains influence over the energy supplies that power Asia and Europe, and America loses the primary non-military tool it's used for decades to enforce global order. The petrodollar wasn't just about oil, it was about maintaining a system where American power was embedded in every transaction, where the world needed us whether they liked us or not. That system is eroding, not because of one decision, because of 1,000 small ones, and the Gulf states are driving it. The battle over oil isn't about barrels anymore. It's about who writes the rules, who controls the currency, who decides the terms. For 50 years, the answer was America. The Gulf played along because they had no choice, but now they have options. China offers markets, digital currencies offer independence, and the Gulf states are taking them. The petrodollar isn't dead yet, but it's fading. A yuan transaction here, a reserve shift there, each one a crack in a system that once seemed permanent. And here's the uncomfortable question. When the Gulf states don't need America's protection more than America needs their cooperation, what exactly is the relationship based on? Because right now, the answer is increasingly unclear, and the Gulf states are acting like they've already figured it out.